What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Hope you are doing great. Hope you had a great weekend. I am back in action. It's been, we had to skip last week because I had something very interesting come up in my life. I'm not ready just yet to disclose what that is publicly, but it was a huge blessing. So we'll leave it at that. I look forward to sharing that with you guys. Hopefully sometime in the next, it might be even a year from now, but with all that said, again, I am so happy to be back with you guys today. My name is Kurzhal, and I like to describe myself as your go-to guy for AI and automations to get back your time, grow your business, grow your investing, grow personally, whatever it is that you're trying to do. This session is for you. So to give a little background on myself, I have over 11 years of experience in the automation space as a software engineer. Currently serving as a CTO at a startup, helping with long-term care solutions for nursing home facilities. And this is the time that I use to, number one, learn a little bit more about the AI news, all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, all of the updates, play with tools, and then also at the same time to be able to do this alongside you guys so you can learn along with me. And then any questions that you guys have about any of this stuff we're going over, or any questions that you might just have in general about automation or AI for someone like myself who has, all this over a decade of experience. This is your chance to come and ask those questions. So, oh man, we got some good stuff. There's been some very interesting releases lately, and I'm really excited to get into this. So we're going to try to blast through our news segments like we usually do, and then go take a look at some of the recent updates to some tools. I'm very partial to some of these tools, and so we'll go over that in a little bit. Before we get any further into it, I just want to let you know that if you do have questions, there's two ways that you can submit those questions for me to be able to see. One is you can submit all your questions, your comments, in the chat on YouTube, Facebook, and now also on Rumble. I periodically pause the what I'm doing, reading these articles, kind of going through things and explaining my thoughts, to look at whatever questions or comments you guys leave in the chat. So if you got a question, drop it in there. If you just want to say hello, drop it in there. Happy to say hello back. Happy to chat about anything that's top of mind for you guys. And then if you have a much longer question, for anything that won't really fit in the chat, if you don't want to have to type it over like multiple pieces of messages, because I know it's kind of limited, I also have a link there in the chat for you guys to be able to click. You go submit some extra information, and then you can submit your longer form question and come back. I will see that come in live on my side. So I stopped to look at the chat, and then I also stopped to look at the spreadsheet where those submissions are coming into live. So feel free to submit to any of those places. Doesn't matter to me. I'll kind of go through them all periodically. I think that's everything. We finished up our giveaway. If you're here for the giveaway, my apologies. We've already wrapped that up. We've been doing that for months now, months and months, almost approaching a year. I forget when I started it, but that giveaway is now over. So I apologize if you're here for that. Hopefully you still get some value out of the rest of the stuff that we're going to cover. All right. Anything else? Whew. After you've been gone a week, you forget a lot. I think that's pretty much everything, y'all. So I think we should go ahead and get into our session for the day. Let me just check here our chat to see if we've got any comments or questions right out of the gate. All right. I'm not seeing anything. So let's hit our news. We're going to be focused, as always, on things that I think are relevant to anyone who is in the business or investing space. Particularly, like sometimes these things get a little technical, and I try to hit these high level, by the way. So if you're not a technical person, just hang in there with me. I try to make it relevant for you so you kind of know how this can actually be applicable, or things that you can be thinking about for the future. All right, let's get into our first article for the day here from OpenAI, from model to agent, equipping the responses API with a computer environment. Now, this is one of those situations where we have an article that's a bit more technical. And so I'm just going to kind of give you the summary of this. I've kind of glanced over this a little bit already. You can go through and read in detail. But the gist of this article, my understanding of this is that essentially they are adding into their API this ability for their server to be able to actually execute real commands that do real things. So when you hit their API, it will not only be able to just give you back some text, but you could potentially hook these things up to actually do more agentic type work without having to run this stuff on your computer, because you can kind of see this here, right? Like responses API orchestrates the agent loop. The user sends a prompt into this API. The API sends the prompt plus a shell to the model. The model spits out some shell commands. You execute those commands inside of a container for security purposes and for the sake of being able to scale things. And then any output or errors will go back into the responses API, and eventually you get those back out. So hopefully that makes it really simple for you guys to understand. If you guys are working with like software engineers or developers, then this is going to be really, really cool. This means that this opens up a lot of opportunity for you guys to be able to do things, implement things in a more sophisticated way, particularly if you're needing to build out workflows that need to be a little bit more dynamic, something that isn't like repeatable over and over again in the same way. Maybe you need things to be done slightly differently. Then this is going to be a good way to take advantage of some agentic features. So that's it for that article. Let's move on to our next one. So OpenAI introduces GPT 5.4 Mini and Nano. So this was released March 17th, so a couple days ago. They said that they're releasing their GPT 5.4 Mini and Nano models, capable small models yet, or the most capable small models yet, bring many of the strengths of GPT 5.4 to faster, more efficient models designed for high volume workloads. So basically, it's just an improvement on coding, reasoning. Multimodal understanding just means like, you can feed in images, videos, audio, stuff like that, and it can understand it. Nano is the smallest, cheapest version for tasks where speed and cost matter most. And so they kind of give a side-by-side here. You can see the GPT 5.4 in the high thinking mode, like it's 57.7% on the software engineer bench, 75.1 on the terminal bench. So you can see all these metrics here. And it looks like the Mini's pretty close here, approaching close here, a little less here. Yeah, so that last one's pretty close. The Nano is going to be much smaller, but it's going to be much faster. So if you're needing something that's, fairly, I guess, a pretty fast and cheap model, and you have like an application that you're kind of building out, it doesn't require like complex thinking and things like that, then you can use these things. And I mean, these things are getting better and better by the day. So, man, we're just going to keep seeing these iterations get faster and faster and faster. I've got a comment here from a question from Jaden. Do you ever use Pigeon AI? Jaden, I have not heard of Pigeon AI. What we'll do is we'll add it to the end of our articles here, and we'll go take a look at it. I'm curious to know what it is that it does. There's so many tools out there that I'm just like, I do my best to keep up with all of them, and you may have heard of plenty that I haven't heard of yet. So, these sessions are meant for me to explore these things. So we'll go check it out and see what Pigeon AI is all about, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. All right, let's see here. Any other comments, questions from anyone? No, none at the moment. Okay. All right. So I think that's enough for this article. Let's move on to our next one. I told you guys we're going to blaze through this today. All right. OpenAI announces creating with Sora safely. So they have this model called Sora that basically just does like video generation. And they say the Sora 2 model and the Sora app offer state-of-the-art video generation with a new way to create together, made sure safety is built in from the start, distinguishable AI content, so it includes visible and invisible provenance signals, so these are going to be like watermarks, I guess. Metadata, yeah, like signatures. Building, okay. Image to video with real person likeness. They continue to strengthen the guardrails, enable creative expression connection, including letting people create videos from photos of family and friends. Users can upload images with people to make videos in Sora after attesting that they have consent from the people involved. Okay, very cool. So they're trying to make sure like people aren't using your images without your consent. Images including kids and young looking persons are subject to even stricter moderation and guardrails about what can be created with them. Videos always have watermarks. Makes sense. Consent-based likeness using characters. Okay, you can create characters to give you control over likeness. Includes your appearance and voice. Guardrails intended to ensure that audio, are used with your consent. Only you decide who can use your characters. Okay, you can revoke at any time. Take measures to block depictions of public figures. Okay. Let's see. They're always visible. Okay, videos that include your characters, including drafts created by other users, are always visible to you. That's interesting. That implies to me that they're mapping that back to your account so they know what you look like. That I have some mixed feelings about this. I understand it from the perspective of controlling your image and how it's used, which I think is important and necessary. At the same time, that means they have information about you, what you look like, and they tie it to your account and all that stuff. So I don't know. It feels kind of Big Brother to me. I get a little nervous about that kind of stuff. I don't know. The thing is, there's always trade-offs, right? Like when you want things to be more automated, easier to use, stuff like that, typically you always are going to trade off privacy. And you can try to take steps when you're developing the tech to be very private as possible. But it's never going to be perfect. So I don't know how I feel about that exactly. I got some mixed feelings. So they've got safeguards for teens, okay, including limitations on mature content, filtering harmful content, blocking unsafe content before it's made, including sexual material, terrorist propaganda, self-harm promotion, audio safeguards, okay. They automatically scan transcript of generated speech for potential policy violations, block attempts to generate music that imitates living artists or existing works. Okay. User control and recourse. You choose when and how to share your videos. You can remove published content anytime. That's good. Videos will only be shared in the feed when you choose to do so. So on and so forth. So you get more control. That's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with that bit there. My understanding, it's been a while since I've used Sora, but the last time I looked at it, if I recall correctly, they're like giving you like a feed of stuff that's generated by other people, and so you can kind of see what other people are doing, which is interesting. But it's nice that they let you have the control over this. All right, let's see if we've got any additional questions from anyone. Questions, comments? Nope. Okay. Let me check Rumble 2. Not leaving you guys out. All right. Let's move on to our next article here from OpenAI. So they announced powering product discovery in ChatGPT. They are launching a richer, more visually immersive shopping experience powered by the Agentic Commerce Protocol. So this is a protocol that they have developed to help with commerce. Let's hear more about it. Let me see. I want to restart this from the beginning. Okay, research, compare products. I need a new microwave. Okay, So it's going to search the web, pull up your product. Okay, it's nice and interactive. Okay, what people are saying, that's cool. Okay. Cool. So, it feels very similar to what Google has in their search. Let's see what they have to say about this. More people start their shopping in ChatGPT. Explore, compare, figure out what to buy. Shopping on web is easy if you know what you want. If you're still deciding, it often means jumping between tabs, reading the same best of lists, trying to piece together. ChatGPT solves that, figuring out what you want to buy. You can describe what you're looking for, refining in conversation, quickly compare options that fit your specific needs. They're making the experience better with richer visual shopping. Okay. They're expanding their agentic commerce protocol to support product discovery. Okay. Very cool. So they've got these pictures, comparison tables. Very nice. Oh, interesting. It looks like you can select filters here. Very interesting. Okay, ChatGPT can help you find what you're looking for based on budget preference, constraints. Okay, easier to compare, under the hood, improved speed. Okay, let's see here. Before shopping improvements, after shopping improvements. So let's scroll down just a tad bit. Okay, so help me find. Okay, so you're providing an input. That has a great vibe. What to look for, fabric, brands in this style, bonobos, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's just general information. So now, on this side, we see, let me scroll up again. Okay, so they actually pull in the products. Very nice. Okay, I like this. This is I have used ChatGPT for this purpose, actually, particularly when I'm doing research on things that, I feel like I might need for, like health or really anything that I would purchase online typically. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Over time, ACP, the protocol will serve as a foundation for broader AI initiative, native commerce experiences, including personalization, local availability, and ETAs. They are leading, retailers like Target, Sephora, Nordstrom, Lowe's, Best Buy, Home Depot, Wayfair have integrated it for discovery. Merchants on Shopify product data is already integrated into ChatGPT through the Shopify catalog, helping products appear more accurately and completely in relevant user conversations. No additional work is required from individual merchants. That is a big deal right there. And this is also very interesting. So, if you're doing any kind of business where you sell things online, you need to really be thinking about this, because if you are not, you are going to be potentially missed by the many people or the increasing number of people who are using tools like ChatGPT to do their searching. If you want your products to be able to show up, you really need to be able to have good pictures. This is true for any store. You need to have pictures, descriptions, pricing, delivery times, things like that. But you need to think about how this is going to be connected to ChatGPT or these other AI platforms that do searching. Sounds like if you are running it on Shopify, your store on Shopify, then you kind of get just the added benefit of being immediately available. And that's a pretty big win for using Shopify. Like, if I was starting an online store, I would really seriously consider Shopify as an option. Just from a technical perspective, they have a lot of features already kind of built out for you, and you can get things up and going pretty quick. But then being able to be discoverable through ChatGPT without having to do a ton of extra work, it's pretty nice. You won't have to think about it. So I will say like that's a big deal. Okay, connecting users and merchants. Let's see here. Okay. Anything else here? Okay, so they're still early with this, but this means that this is a good time to jump in and start kind of figuring this stuff out for your business. And if you're gonna try to start something new, then you should definitely give some thought to this kind of stuff. I would say start looking into how it's going to show up in ChatGPT, but also think about how it's going to show up in places like Perplexity. 1 second, guys. I think our music got cut off. Let's keep playing that. There we go. Now we got some nice background music. All right. Let me see if we got any new comments, questions from anyone. No? All right. Next up, from OpenAI, update on the OpenAI Foundation. So let's see. Last fall, OpenAI announced its recapitalization, paving the way for the OpenAI Foundation to access significant resources. Today, we're sharing how the foundation is starting to put that support to work. Okay, their mission is to ensure artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. It's a multifaceted endeavor. Okay. Let's see here. Over the next year, we will quickly ramp up. The foundation expects to invest at least $1 billion across life sciences and curing diseases, jobs and economic impact, AI resilience, and community programs. This includes early investment towards our previously announced $25 billion commitment to curing diseases and AI resilience. Okay. All right. They're going to start with life sciences and curing diseases, specifically Alzheimer's, public data for health. Okay. Accelerating progress on high mortality and high burden diseases. Very interesting. Okay, they're looking forward at how it's going to impact jobs and the economy. Okay, foundation is begun engaging civil society, small business owners, unions, okay, to develop and fund practical solutions in this space. Okay, substantial resources behind the most promising. Okay. Interesting. So AI resilience will also be one of our primary programs. This work concentrates on the new challenges that inevitably arise from more capable AI, so people can benefit from AI in ways that support and expand human agency, creativity, and opportunity. So they're going to focus on AI impact on children and youth. They're going to make sure it's safe for young people and support healthy development. Biosecurity, want to strengthen how society prepares for potential biological threats. AI model safety, they want the systems to be safer by default. Okay. Independent testing evaluations, developing new and stronger industry standards. Okay, cool. Let's see, supporting communities. They'll announce the final wave of grants from Initial People First AI Fund. Okay. They're building a team out to advance our work at scale. Okay. So they're going to keep on pushing funding into this to achieve their vision here. Very interesting. All right. Let's move on. Let's keep on blasting through these articles. OpenAI to create desktop super app combining ChatGPT, browser, and Codex app. So this is very interesting. Let me zoom in a little bit here for you guys to be able to see this a little better. So it's going to combine its web browser, okay, ChatGPT app, Codex coding app into a singular desktop app. Okay. Their CEO of applications at OpenAI will oversee change in assistance with assistance from the president. Okay, help OpenAI streamline user experience, reduce fragmentation. Yep, that's super important. So this all kind of makes sense to me. And the reason this makes sense to me is because I am a huge fan of Anthropic's Claude models and their desktop app. Their desktop app, if you have not yet used it, is basically already these things. It has the chat built in for just general things. It's got a co-work mode, so that way it can actually go do real world things in any services that you have connected on your computer or stuff like that. You can schedule things to run there. One more thing they just announced, which we're going to look at in a little bit, is you can operate some of this stuff from your phone and it runs on your computer. They have a code mode built into the thing that honestly is so good, it almost makes me want to, I almost consider walking away from the terminal where I do most of my coding to just use that thing, because it's got some really nice features built around it. So, I would say generally my perspective on this is Claude is so far ahead already. OpenAI is going to have to work their butts off to catch up. And that Anthropic is not stopping. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep making things better, especially with how people are getting all excited about like the OpenClaw stuff. If you have not seen OpenClaw, it's supposed to be like a personal assistant, and you can hook it up to different types of models behind the scene and all this stuff. I have a feeling we're going to start to see, basically Claude Desktop can do all of that, in my opinion. There might be some things it can't exactly do the same, but it really basically can. And I will expect that it can, you will probably see like the Anthropic team is going to continue to push those kinds of updates out. So anyways, OpenAI is going to have to really work hard to catch up. They have too many separate things here, and it's kind of confusing on how it actually is useful for most people. So they're going to have to get their stuff in order here. Let's go ahead and move on to our next article here. Speaking of Anthropic, OpenAI and Google employees rushed to Anthropic's defense in the DoD lawsuit. So let's zoom in a little bit more here. More than 30 OpenAI and Google DeepMind employees filed a statement on Monday supporting Anthropic's lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Defense Department after the federal agency labeled the AI firm as a supply chain risk, according to court filings. The government's designation, quote, the government's designation of Anthropic as a supply chain risk was an improper and arbitrary use of power and has serious ramifications for our industry, reads the brief, whose signatories include Google DeepMind chief scientist Jeff Dean. So for you guys who were not in the know on this, the Pentagon was using Anthropic's Claude tools until they started asking questions about how their AI was being used for war purposes. And that kind of went up the chain that there was going to be some concern that they were going to not let the Department of Defense use the AI for whatever it is that they were using internally. And so they cut them off basically and said, hey, you're a supply chain risk. And then went with OpenAI. The downstream effect of this, though, for Anthropic is that anybody who's kind of associated with the government cannot, my understanding of this, again, I'm just the tech guy, but my understanding of this at a cursory level from some of the other people that I've heard talk about this is that basically it means that if you're working with the government in some form or fashion, you can't be using stuff that is marked as a supply chain risk. And so this could be potentially a major hit to Anthropic's revenue. And it's just so ironic because I think that they're probably one of the better players around right now for pushing the boundaries on models, and then the harness around the models, like the things that you can actually do with those models, like their Claude desktop, for example. So looks like there's some people speaking out in favor of Anthropic, even from other companies. They say, quote, "If allowed to proceed, this effort to punish one of the leading U.S. AI companies will undoubtedly have consequences for the United States industrial and scientific competitiveness in the field of artificial intelligence and beyond," the brief reads. "And it will chill open deliberation in our field about the risks and benefits of today's AI systems." So we'll see how this all turns out. Very, very interesting. All right, guys, let's see what kind of questions, comments we've got here in the chat. Anything new? Nothing from you guys. No new questions. Okay. Let's move on to our next article. So our next article is from Anthropic. Anthropic invests $100 million into the Claude Partner Network. They are launching the Partner Network, a program for partner organizations helping enterprises to adopt Claude. They're committing an initial $100 million to support our partners with training courses, dedicated technical support, and joint market development. Partners who join from today will get immediate access to new technical certification and be eligible for investment. Very neat. So they're serving the needs of businesses. They partnered with a number of other companies. It is the only frontier AI model available on all three leading cloud providers, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, and Microsoft. Did not know that. That's cool. They also work with large management consultancies, professional service firms, specialist AI firms, similar agencies. Okay, let's see here. The partners act as trusted guides. Now we're doubling down on our commitment to our partners, aiming to make it easier for these organizations to support enterprises in adopting Claude. Okay, cool. Let's see what this actually means. They're committing an initial $100 million to this network in 2026, and they're expecting to invest more over time. The significant proportion of their investment will go to their partners as direct support for training and sales enablement. Okay. And for market development. Interesting. Including work to make customer deployments successful, co-marketing for joint campaigns and events, scaling partnership. Okay. Very interesting. They're trying to provide applied AI engineers to partners working on live customer deals, technical architects to scope more complex implementations, and localized go-to-market support in international markets. Very neat. Okay. Okay, they've got an academy there. There's going to be a technical certification for these partners. And then lastly, they're launching a code modernization starter kit, which gives our partners a straightforward starting point for migrating key legacy code bases and remediating enterprises' technical debt. That's big. And, maybe this doesn't make as much sense for folks who are not technical, but there's always, when you're making these business decisions and trying to move quickly, typically, there's going to be some form of technical debt that you incur, which basically just means you made some kind of trade-off in the short term for the way you design your system that is you're going to have to come back and fix at a later point in time, and could cause problems later, could be harder to undo later. So there is a technical debt, so to speak, that you have to pay off. Now, it's very interesting that they're coming at this from the perspective of being able to migrate these really old code bases and remediate the technical debt. These are going to be very, very old systems usually. Like, these are systems that are out of date, at least by several years, probably have not been updated, and they need a way to be able to move forward. The thing is, if you don't keep a system up to date, packages go out of date, security becomes a major issue, and you have to update things to be more secure. Like, there's all sorts of problems that come when you don't maintain something. And so you have to think through those things. And if you need to quickly kind of get back up to speed, being able to leverage an AI to help you do it is a really good use of it. They say any organization that is bringing Claude to market is eligible to join Claude Partner Network. Membership is free of charge. Applications open today. You can find out more here. That's cool. So this is probably not, my understanding of this is not just for people who are just using Claude per se. I mean, maybe, because it almost sounds like the way they kind of describe it is like using it in your sales processes. I'm going to have to go back through and read that a little bit more carefully, because that's interesting. I'm not sure if, let's see here. Go directly to our partners as direct support for training and sales enablement and for market development. So I'm wondering if this is for people who are integrating Claude into their applications and things like that, or if this could include people who are doing, like, blue collar stuff. Like, could this be like a plumbing business that's trying to implement Claude to automate certain portions of their business? Like maybe like a chatbot that faces the public on a website or something like that. I'm very curious about that. I might have to dig into this a little bit more. Let's see if we've got any additional questions, comments. All right. Let's move on. Now we're going to get into the meat of stuff, guys, and I am really, really pumped about this. So here is an announcement from Claude. So let's see if we can play this thing. Okay, that's pretty cool. So they have this dispatch mode. They say that users on the Pro and Max plans can access a persistent agent thread via the Claude desktop or Claude for iOS, Android to manage tasks in Cowork. We're rolling this out to Max plans starting today. This was on March 17th. Pro plans over the next 2 days. So by now you guys should all be able to get access to this, which is really cool. This means that basically you could open up Claude Desktop on your computer, on your laptop, wherever it is that you're typically running stuff, and then you can connect it to your phone, and from your phone, wherever you are, you can ask it to do things, and then it'll go do those things on your computer for you. So you could be up and away from your desk or traveling or something, and in theory, having this thing actually do stuff on your behalf. That is super cool. That is a step toward a true AI assistant. And this is, again, why I really like Claude, like the Claude ecosystem as a set of solutions. That was, I think, a really well thought out feature, and I'm glad that they implemented it. More and more of these things keep getting added to this app. And at some point, it's just going to be like, okay, you guys are the winner, I guess. Everybody else is going to be trying to catch up to this. Because I don't know anybody. The closest thing to this right now is like the OpenClaw stuff, where, you chat through Telegram or something like that. But, Claude has it all kind of in one place, and you didn't have to worry about all the security issues that, OpenClaw had. So very, very interesting. All right. Let's move on to our last thing. And we're going to check this out too, by the way. I actually want to try this out today. I've got the app installed on my phone, and so I'm going to try to control it. Let's go over here to our last item for the day. So this is from Google, introducing Vibe Design with Stitch. Stitch is evolving into an AI native software design canvas that allows anyone to create, iterate, and collaborate on high fidelity UI from natural language. Now, I've looked at Stitch in the past, and I thought it was pretty darn cool. Like when I last played with it, I think this is the same platform that I played with previously, where basically you could go in and you could say, hey, I want like a UI mock-up for this application. I want to be able to see these things. And then it would spit out these images, but you could also like grab the code from it, and it looked really pretty. It was really neat because you could like play with the design and stuff like that. So looks like they're iterating on this and they're making this better. Let's see what they have to say about this. They say, over the last year, AI has fundamentally changed how we build, turning simple descriptions into functional software. We launched Stitch to bring your ideas to life, starting with the design process. Today, we're evolving Stitch into an AI native software design canvas. With it, anyone can create, iterate, and collaborate to turn natural language into high fidelity UI designs. I love it. I'm not a UI guy per se. I'm not I don't have a strong design oriented background, but I've had to build out some UI designs in the past for some applications that I do. I kind of know what, I can get a sense of, oh yeah, this is pretty functional for people. These are some of the things you want to avoid. Oh yeah, this looks pretty decent. But being able to use AI to make something that looks much better than what I could do from scratch on my own, and then as long as I can kind of give it the feedback and iterate super fast, that's what I want. And I know a lot of other people will also value this from the perspective of just being able to create mock-ups. You got something in your brain and you want to be able to create this mock-up very quickly without having to have this in-depth knowledge of all these complicated tools, and then you want to hand it off to somebody who really knows how to take that and run with it. This is a really great way to shorten that feedback loop for yourself, and then you can hand it off to your team. It's going to make this kind of stuff more accessible to people who struggle maybe with some of the tech. And for people who really do well with the tech, it's going to just make you faster. So let's see what else they have to say about this. Creating with intent. When vibe designing in Stitch, you can explore many ideas quickly, leading to higher quality outcome. Instead of starting with a wireframe, you can start by explaining the business objective, what you're hoping to achieve, and what you want your users to feel, or even examples of what's currently inspiring you. Love it. AI can be a creativity multiplier, helping people explore many ideas quickly. Exactly. This guy gets it. I love it. A new AI native design canvas. We're introducing complete redesign of Stitch UI. It now features a new AI native infinite canvas that gives your ideas room to grow from early ideations to working prototypes. The canvas is built to amplify your creativity through the design process, where you often diverge and converge before landing on something great. It lets you bring your ideas, regardless of the shape they take, images, text, or even code, directly to the canvas as context. Love it, love it, love it. New design agent. Okay. And so they've got a design agent kind of built in here. They're introducing a new agent manager, tracks your progress, helps you work on multiple ideas in parallel while staying organized. I love it. They have a design system with Design MD. Broadened their design system toolkit to enable creation with deeper context. You can easily extract and design system from any URL, or use the new Design MD, an agent-friendly markdown file. to export or import your design rules to or from other design and coding tools. This lets you, for instance, apply your designs to a different Stitch project so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you start. That is awesome. Okay, iterate quickly and in the flow. So the design is a process of constant refinement. Test ideas real time is crucial to maintaining creative momentum. By transforming static designs into interactive prototypes instantly, Stitch allows you to experience the user journey immediately. You can stitch screens together in seconds. Simply click play to quickly preview your app. Okay. It automatically generates logical next screens based on the click. Mapping user journeys effortlessly. Rapid feedback loop means you can refine individual elements or overhaul entire flows with a single click, ensuring your best ideas are validated and polished in record time. Love it. Oh, does that actually play? Oh, no, it's just an image. Okay. In Stitch, we're transforming collaboration to be integrated into creative partnership that spans your workflow. You can use your voice, apparently. Introducing voice capabilities, you can speak to your canvas. It'll give you real-time design critiques, design a new landing page by interviewing you, make real-time updates. Okay. By acting as a sounding board, AI helps you uncover your top ideas through dynamic critique and dialogue, ensuring you remain in your creative flow. Wow. Okay. This is really crazy. This gets better and better. From design to code with MCP skills and exports. Okay, it doesn't stop there. Stitch can act as a bridge to all of the other tools in your team's workflow. Using the recently released Stitch MCP server and SDK, you can leverage its capabilities via skills and tools, or export your designs to developer tools like AI Studio and Anti-Gravity, ensuring that the partnership between you, the AI, and your developers remains seamless and synchronized. Wow. That's crazy, y'all. This is crazy. Okay, we're gonna have to go in and we're gonna have to check out Stitch today. Man, what time is it? I gotta keep an eye on the time so we have time for everything. This is absolutely insane. I love what they've done. I love the fact that they have released an MCP server and you can leverage it with skills. So you can I could hook this thing in theory up to Claude, and I could be like designing like interactively in this tool, and then probably like going back into Claude and being like, hey, I want you to go leverage these designs and stuff. If I can more interactively change my UI elements and get a sense and a feel for how it's going to flow, that is going to drastically speed up development time. It's going to be incredible. So we're going to have to check this out. And again, this is going to be great if you're working with the developer trying to put something together. Even if it's just like a personal, this could be for even like personal stuff that you build out. You start with Stitch and kind of work your way through that experience and kind of formulate that idea. And then you could probably hook it up to something like Claude, or anything that can use an MCP server and skills, like agent skills, and then have it kind of help build out the rest of it and integrate some of the pieces together so you can use something like effectively. So love this. This is awesome. If you guys are still around, I want to hear what you think of that. We're gonna have to check this out today. All right, so we had a request here, a question actually from Jaden. Jaden asked if we know anything about Pigeon AI. So Jaden, I am going to take your question here, and we're going to put this in here. Pigeon AI. I'm not sure if this is it. We got pigeons with big old butts here, apparently. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Start shipping insights, small businesses. Gain insights on your FedEx shipping. Recover refunds you're owed and ensure you're being charged correctly over 30 years of transportation industry experience. Okay. We help small businesses take control of their shipping costs and performance. Shipping insights, analytics, refund recovery, billing verification, performance reports. So this is like for shipping logistics. Jaden, if you're still there, you got to let me know if this is what you were talking about. Okay. Very interesting. Let's take a look at their pricing. See what we get. Okay. Automated refund recovery service. Well, let's take a look at the free shipping insights, analytics, recommendations and reports, interactive graphs, charts, refund opportunity identification, basic billing verification. Okay. Everything in free plan. Automated refund recovery service. Okay. That's cool. Monthly performance reports, performance presentation builder. Okay. Advanced billing analysis, priority email, phone support. Let's see what else we have. Dedicated support team, FedEx contract, auditing, discount optimization analysis, projection analysis, forecasting, reporting dashboards. Okay, very interesting. So, if you were having to deal with shipping logistics, this sounds like it might be an interesting service. I don't really know much about it to know how good it is. So, let's see what it says. How does the refund recovery work? They include automated refund recovery, where we handle entire process of claiming refunds from FedEx on your behalf. Identify eligible refunds that submit claims automatically. So you don't have to spend time on paperwork. Oh, very nice. Okay. What carriers do you support? FedEx, comprehensive analytics, actively working on UPS, DHL, USPS. Okay. So cool. It sounds like really the thing that they have here. I mean, you get all the tracking and stuff like that, but then they've got this little automated refund recovery built on top. So that's very interesting. I don't know if it's $150 a year. You would have to make sure that whatever you were really getting in terms of refunding. I mean, I guess if you want the tracking and stuff, that would be worth it too. But then that might basically pay for itself, or maybe make you some more money depending on how much volume you're doing. Interesting. Jaden, this was an interesting question. Hopefully this was the same thing that you were talking about. Not entirely sure because you just asked about, and you actually misspelled the pigeon AI. You put a D in there. So hopefully this is the right service, Jaden. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and let's move on to our tool usage. So I want to cover two things this evening. One is I want to test out the dispatch mode in Claude Desktop and see how well this thing works. And then two, I want to go back into Stitch and I want to play with that because it's been a while since I last used Stitch. I was really impressed with it when I used it months ago, but it looks like it's going to be even better now. So we're gonna do both of these things. Let's go ahead and give it a shot here with the Claude Desktop, and we're gonna see if we can get this dispatch mode going. So you can see here that they added this dispatch mode onto your options here in Cowork. So specifically, well, it's an option, I guess, under the Cowork mode at the top. So if you go to chat, it's not going to be there. If you go to code, it's not going to be there. Oh no, it is there in code. Okay, I'm wrong. I guess you don't really need to worry about dispatching if you're not in Cowork or code mode. So Cowork and code mode, those are going to really like do stuff, on your computer. And so that's kind of the value that I'm seeing here of dispatch. So let's click this, and then let's go through this. Okay, you check in from anywhere. Your phone is like a walkie-talkie. Just send it a message. It does tasks on your computer. You can run tasks or schedule wherever you need them. Okay, keep your computer awake so Claude can keep working. Very cool. As I'm just kind of thinking through this, there's like some kind of update here. I almost want to relaunch that. We'll hold off on that for now. But as I'm kind of thinking about this, and in terms of its usage in everyday life, I could see this being super useful if you had just like an old spare laptop and you wanted these things to kind of run just doing a bunch of different things for you all the time. You could set up this thing on those computers, and then you could dispatch to your phone. So I almost wish you could dispatch from another computer. If I could dispatch from, like, if I could have my secondary computer over here and I could be doing stuff from my computer, I wouldn't have to go to my phone to type it out. I could just type inside my thing and say, hey, go do your thing on your computer. And then it basically would be like a virtual employee. And I could give it, it has its own system and all that stuff. In theory, you could also, you don't have to do this on a whole physical machine. You could spin up like a little server and have like a virtual desktop that runs on that server and have this thing actually go and execute things on your behalf. So we really are kind of stepping towards this AI employee or personal assistant type of system. I mean, I know people are already kind of doing this some with the OpenClaw, but the OpenClaw stuff was kind of complex for non-technical people to set up, and this is not so complex comparatively. So let's get started. So it says pair with your Claude mobile app. So you gotta do this, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this for you guys live. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, because you guys could have taken a screenshot of that. I should have thought about that. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Okay, that just lets you download the app. So, whoo! I was worried for a second there. So, okay. I've already got the Claude desktop installed on my phone. So, let's go ahead and try this out here. So, I've got the thing pair with my desktop. So download the latest version of Claude Desktop, sign in. Okay, go to the dispatch tab and complete the setup. Okay, I am signed in on my phone. So macOS will ask, okay, give it access to my, okay. Prevents sleep while dispatch is running. Okay, cool. Claude is ready to use Chrome. Check. So I guess you might have to go through some steps here to connect it to Chrome. Let Claude control your computer. So this is another one. It can actually, this is another really cool feature they just released, which is now it can actually go do things on your computer. So we can do that. Okay, required. Okay, so I'm going to have to turn on these features later, so I'll do that later. All connectors are on. Okay, it can use every connector that you've authenticated. Finish setup. Okay, wow. Okay, so let's see here. Now we're in dispatch mode, and it says, okay, check in from anywhere else, a task, a code session, and one continuous thread. So enable. So if I want to enable computer use, I just have to change that in my settings. Files that Claude shares will appear here. Work with Claude right on your computer. Claude can work with your files, browse in Chrome, and use connectors. Okay, dispatch a task or code session from a mobile app. will keep working as long as your computer stays awake. Okay. So let's try this. I'm going to pull open my phone here. Done. I'm paired with my desktop. That was easy. Okay, cool. So on my phone, when I like kind of slide open the little side window there is a there's like a little, it looks the same as this. It says dispatch, right? And so then I click that and I have access to all my other stuff, my artifacts, the code sessions. So, all right. What would I like Claude to do? Let's see here. I'd like for you to see if I have any live streams going. No, I don't want to do that. What do I want to do? I need something very interesting. If you guys are hanging out around here and you'd like to see me run something specific on this, I'd love to have ideas. So, maybe some kind of research. I know. I'm going to speak into this thing from my phone. I want you to create a visualized timeline of when the first large language model was released and the major updates over time, including new players in the space like Anthropic and Google and OpenAI. From up to the modern day. Okay, so I submitted the thing. Okay, so you can see it popped in. I did that from my phone here. It popped in. Okay. Kicking that off now. So the question is, okay, here we go. So it over here in the little recents kicked this thing off. Very interesting. So this is now going kind of on a little side quest here. And from my phone, let me see here. Okay, so when I'm looking at my phone, I'm not seeing, and I think this is just because I don't have a co-work mode on the phone, right? Like it's, you got on your mobile device, you have like chat, you've got your dispatch, you've got your projects, you've got your artifacts, and you've got your code. So I'm not going to see this thing here running. But if it creates an artifact for me, I should be able to pull that up and see it. At least I would hope. So the downside that I'm seeing right here is that, well, I guess we'll see. When this thing completes, the question is, will it go back here and report to me that, hey, this thing is done? And if it does, that's pretty cool. It means that it can kick off a thing in the background and that thing can run in parallel. And so you have this, this thing running in parallel over here. And when I say parallel, I just mean that just runs at the same time that other things run. So if that runs, in the background in parallel to other things, and then it comes back and says, hey, I'm all done, then that is super fantastic. So let's see what it's kind of doing here. So create a beautiful interactive visual. Okay. So it kind of gave this initial prompt. I didn't write that prompt. It just kind of did it. It's got, okay, I've got a comprehensive research. Let me build an interactive timeline. What do you guys in the chat think? Okay. So let's go back to our dispatch mode. So it kind of looks like it did its thing. Timeline includes this. Okay, what's included? Interactive features. Okay. Okay, here we go. So that's the artifact it created. That is pretty darn cool. Ooh, you know what? I kind of like seeing this. It's got open source models on there too. I almost want to this gives me a very interesting idea for keeping up with recent updates and stuff and visualizing that. I really like that. That's really cool. You can get a good sense of what's going on here. Okay, let's go back to dispatch mode. See what it says. So this was our last message. It says your timeline is ready. It covers 36 milestones, includes your transformer paper, okay, Anthropics Claude family, okay. Timeline is interactive. You can click any card to expand the description. So that's cool. It did come back and do this. Now, so I can click that. Uh-oh. So when I click that, it doesn't do anything. At least I'm not seeing anything. Maybe it's showing up somewhere and I'm not seeing it just right now. So that's an interesting problem. Now I'm going to try to click it on my phone. Unsupported link. So I can't click it. Interesting. So I can click this on my computer, but I get an unsupported link because this is referencing a particular file. Let me ask it. Can you share that artifact file? Because it says outputs that it shares will be shown here. I wonder if my computer, if I need to change this to kind of... okay, so there's something wonky here, and maybe I'm having problems with it because I'm not using the newest version. So I'll have to try that out a little later, and or maybe we just relaunch it. Let's relaunch this thing. Let's see if this fixes it. You guys got a minute, right? All right, that was pretty quick. So let's go back over here. So we go back to our dispatch. Still can't click this right now. I'm gonna have to try this later then to see if maybe this computer use is doing it. I'm not sure why I can't access this though. So we're gonna have to check that out another time. But otherwise, you know, I'm pretty pleased with how that went. It's cool that they had this dispatch mode. That the name for it makes a lot more sense now, in that, you know, you're messaging in a single thread for asking for things, and then it dispatches a command to go run a bunch of stuff. And so my expectation for this, we would have to test it more thoroughly, but I don't think there's going to be any issue with this. We could probably ask it to go do multiple things, and it'll go run all those things in the background at the same time, and then it'll come back to me and say, hey, your thing is done, this thing is done, this thing is done. So that's really cool. That definitely feels more like an assistant, so you can just hand things off. I think this is a step in the right direction. I think there's a question that I have here about this dispatch mode of, how do I get access to some of these files, these artifacts that maybe it generates for me if I ask it to go do work on my behalf, because I can't access them on my phone right now. And I also could not access them on my desktop, at least not when I click the link. If I go to that co-work thread, I can obviously pull up the artifact, but you know, that's a little frustrating. Like I need a cohesive, workflow to be able to go access things. I don't need to be guessing about where I can go find this thing. So that's something I think that Anthropic could improve a little bit. Hopefully they're working on it. I mean, they're constantly pushing out new updates, and this is a new feature. So I'm not too worried about it. I think it's going to be great in the long run. So, all right. Now we are getting kind of late here, and I want to make sure that I'm wrapping it up. But I want to play with this new tool called, or not new tool, but I want to play with the tool Stitch from Google. I remember again that before this tool was awesome, and that announcement that they just made about it just blows my mind. So we definitely got to open up Stitch and then get to it. So let me open this thing up, and I'm going to switch my account over to, I'm not sure if this is going to provide any difference. I'm going to have to look real quick here, guys. Give me a second, because, okay, I can see in my paid profile, I can think with 3.1 Pro. Let me switch back to my Okay, so it looks like it has some of the same stuff in both. Oh, wait. Hold on. Switch. Oh, no, it's not switching back now. Well, not sure why that is. I guess we'll just proceed. So we'll just proceed with the paid account, and that's totally okay. So we are now in Stitch. It says meet the new Stitch. Okay, they got a little video to demo. Okay. So let's just get hands on. That's the demo video, but the promotion. But I really want to like try this thing. So let's say that I want to create, because I was working on like a goal tracking app previously that remains only partially done at this point. But let's say I want to like play with the design on this. So I'm going to hit this. Hold on one second, guys. You guys are getting we're going to pause that audio.
Got it. I'll pause.
Okay, and we're going to swap this out. Okay, so now you guys should be able to hear the audio. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. So currently we're in the audio mode for the Stitch app, and I want to use this to help me build out a graphical user interface for my goal setting and tracking app. This app needs to be able to allow me to set goals with achievable to-dos along the way, or milestones, essentially. Basically, when I define a goal or an outcome that I want to achieve, the app is going to take that as input to an AI that will then break down the steps or milestones that may need to be achieved for me to be able to reach that goal or outcome. In some cases, the goals and outcomes are to improve my skills. In some cases, they're to make money. Some cases, they're just for general personal development, health, etc., etc. I want to be able to label and categorize the type of goal that this is. And then once the AI breaks down everything and gives me back the expected items, milestones, and to-dos, it needs to be able to look at the deadline or target date that I want to achieve that outcome for, and it needs to be able to plan out those milestones and to-do items on my calendar in such a way that it's time blocked so I can actually achieve everything that I want to do. I think I spoke too much. So it didn't pick that up. I think I'm going to have to repeat all that. So we might have to try this again. So, you can click this to create multiple variations, add a screenshot. Okay. Cool. Okay. We can do Flash, thinking with Pro, redesign. Okay. And then use a design system. Let Stitch decide. Okay, interesting. Let's try this again. Let me see if I can condense the things I wanted to say. We got some other little options here. Direct edit, mark, pan, upload files to Canvas, design system, favorites. Okay, interesting. Let's give this a go. Let's try this again. I want to create a app that allows me to track my goals for the year and to also plan to achieve those goals with time blocking on my calendar. When I define a goal, I need to be able to specify the type of goal it is, whether it's for personal development, like building skills, or whether it's for making money, or health, or various other categories that I might define. I also need to be able to, when I define that outcome or that goal, I need an AI system to be able to take that desired outcome, then break it down into milestones, and then break that down further into to-do items that need to be completed. These to-do items and milestones should also be time blocked on my calendar, so that way I know how to allocate my time appropriately in order to achieve my goals.
That's a fantastic idea. We can create screens that feel motivating and visually engaging. I'll design a central dashboard, a goal definition screen with categories, an AI breakdown view, and a seamless calendar planning screen. Cohesive design. On it, creating. That sounds like a fantastic idea. We can create screens for a goals dashboard, defining goals, and a calendar for time blocking. On it, crafting the initial screenshot.
Okay, so that was interesting. I wonder if it got feedback from my headphones going back to the microphone, and it was causing it to get a little wonky there. But now it's starting to actually like create the app. Okay, we've got our color. Oh, interesting. Ooh. So we've got like our fonts here. We've got our, look at this. This is crazy. It's got our primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary, neutral colors. It's got headline fonts, body fonts, label fonts. Kind of shows you what these things are going to look like. Very cool. Started building the app. Wow. Okay. Add to favorites, good result, bad result. Okay. So I could keep giving it feedback and it could keep doing things. So this is very interesting. So modify, annotate design system. Preview. Okay, so I could see this on a tablet view. Oh. Okay, I see. So you click one of these, and it looks like it named it too. So it says like goals dashboard. It says define goal, calendar, and time blocking. Very nice. Okay. Let's hit the play. Connect and preview. Creating an instant prototype. Oh, wow. Okay. Welcome to the prototype editor. Your screens are connected and ready to interact. Add, edit, and connect more screens to create an interactive app experience. Very cool. I can switch it to tablet mode, desktop. Okay, cool. I can reload it, hide hotspots. Okay. So I can show these little hotspots down here. I guess things that I can click. Okay, very interesting. QR code. Oh, okay. Can I go back? Oh, I need to just go back here. Oh, define goal. Okay, so let's go back here. And okay, on the left-hand side, we have our screens. We have a edit screen button, replace this screen with another. We can add a screen down here, imagine a new screen. I don't know what the difference would be between adding a screen and imagine a new screen would be. So it looks like if I click this, let me see my hotspots. Okay. Okay. So we're on our dashboard. Very interesting. So you can add a new goal from your dashboard. I don't know what that rocket button's supposed to do. We might, let's say we didn't want that rocket button. Okay, we're on the goals. Step 1. Let's try marathon training. I want to run a full marathon for the first time. Okay. Step 2. It's health. Okay. So there's obviously a lot of things that it's just kind of showing the clickable types of things. Plan week button. Okay. So let's say I wanted to edit this page. I can select the elements and let's see what I can do here. Can I just like... Okay, when you got overlaid things, it's a little difficult to deal with. Okay, so I can describe how I want to change it, or I can just... I can click that. Okay, so I can click that. I can say, hey, I want to connect this to a new screen. Let's see here. Change this with AI, edit text. Oh, okay, so that lets me just edit the text directly. And let's say the rocket launch should take me to create a new goal. Okay. So it's kind of telling me here that it's going to update the goals dashboard to do that. It's kind of going through and let's preview again. Okay. There we go. Okay, very cool. Okay, I get the gist of this. Let's say I wanted to like edit this again. And so I could remove a connection, I can imagine a new screen, or I could, okay, interesting. And then I can swap my view here for what this is going to look like in preview mode. It looks a little, that little button kind of got messed up in the edit mode. Yeah, so it got pulled down here in the edit mode. Very interesting that it did that. And if you don't have something defined, you can define it, I guess. Like this view all thing, you know, we should like maybe have like a list of things on our goals or something. So we could tweak that. What does this do down here? Appearance. Oh, I can change how that looks. Let's see here. Agent messages. No updates from the agent. Open a new tab. Okay, so I could open this up in a new tab. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then, you know, let's say I go back here and there's this goals dashboard. Let me see if I zoom in. What does it say? Updated. Ah, okay. So that's the updated one. And it's got this one too. Okay. And oh, okay. So this is really, really cool. So like we can come in here and we can like totally modify these things. I can like zoom in and I can do all sorts of things. I can edit the text, edit the element. Can I like drag and drop things? What's annotate do? Oh. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so this annotate mode actually would be probably the most helpful because like when I'm looking through this, you know, I'm trying to figure out, oh, well, how do I actually like really modify stuff? And clicking this little edit mode, I can come in here and I can edit it or I can edit with AI, but that's a lot of like, you know, oh, I just want to make this one little change and then I'm having to wait for the AI to kind of get back to me. So if I do this annotate mode, I can actually like come in and I can click something and add a comment. Describe my change at this little location. I can select this. I could do this all over for a bunch of stuff. So let's say I mean, I kind of like this page actually. Okay, so I can delete, I can exit, reset, apply, and then this, that lets me circle that. So I can like draw on this thing with this little drawing tool. Okay, I can click and delete. That's really nice. That gives me a lot more selectability. What if I want to delete all of it? Can I do both? Yes. Ooh, this is so nice. Okay, I can reset, I can undo, I can apply. This is cool. Ooh, this is so nice. Okay, I need to, not the define goal. So I selected that and it adds it down here to the chat, whatever I want to do. Click to generate multiple variations. So I could do multiple variations on things. I can click this. I can generate instant prototype. So that's what this is. I can generate variations. That's the same thing as down there in that button. I can regenerate predictive heat map. That's interesting. I wonder if it'll just add like a predictive heat map to the thing. Let me see what else we got here. Mobile tablet, okay. Let's see, more, copy to Figma, export, download. So I could just do individual pages that I can export or download. I can view the code on it. I can click this thing. Okay, here's the, oh, it popped up the heat map. Let's view that. Oh, so cool. So it keeps creating things. Like you can see here, those are the original ones. Here's the new thing. Here's the heat map that it's kind of predicting that you're going to click on. That's kind of cool. And then, so you can get a sense of where you think most people would possibly be hitting this thing. What else should we play with here? Let's try the variations. So let's say to please generate variations. Let's do 2 variations. Explore, nothing, be creative, nothing too crazy. Open your mind. Okay. Offer options with more subtle changes. Let's just hit explore. I don't want to really have any additional instructions. Let's do layout, images, text font. I love that I can select that a little bit more narrowly, generate variations. So it's going to kind of go do its thing here. Let me click our little, oh, okay. So that's one of the design systems. So you can create multiple design systems in here that you want to use. If I want to modify this, I can edit. I can download or promote to global. So I guess maybe you could make that like a global thing for everything. That's kind of cool. Let's edit. So, okay. So we get a lot of information here about like the title at the top, the theme. I can choose light or dark mode. I can change my colors. Okay. I can choose my fonts. I can choose the corner radiuses, all that stuff. Very nice. And then this is that design MD. Like this is another little toggle option that you can select. And then you can take this and you can take it somewhere else. So that's pretty darn cool. And we could, you know, I could throw that into a code base too. Let's see how it did on this other stuff. So here are the other two that it reimagined. Here's one. Your progress snapshot. That's very interesting. Milestones in motion, your horizon expanding. That's pretty cool. Okay, so overall, I would say I really like this. I think this is super helpful. The fact that you can click through it, the fact that you can annotate, that's a really big deal. This is really nice, and it is a free, well, I'm pretty sure it's free. I mean, maybe you have to pay if you're using like this Thinking with 3.1 Pro, maybe you have to do a little bit more work there, or maybe you have to pay something to get access to that. But overall, this is pretty darn cool, and I feel like I'm just barely kind of touching the surface of this. I think for designers, this will make, you know, this will be pretty nice as a tool. And for anybody who needs to just kind of quickly iterate through some ideas and see it visually, this I think is going to be for you. So overall, I would say I am very happy with the direction that Stitch has gone in. Thank you very much, Google, for all the work that you guys have put into this. This is a pretty darn awesome tool. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's going to be it for the evening. Let me check to see if we got any last minute chats or comments or questions. I am not seeing anything from you guys. So I guess that means that we are going to kind of bring things to a close here. Before we go, I do want to just let you know that we actually have a email reminder that goes out if you enjoyed this session this evening and you really want to be able to join us for future sessions, but maybe you just forget. Number one, just know we typically are, right now we're doing these on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Time. So you can come join us at this time every week. And I usually will, I'm pretty consistent about doing these. But in the case where maybe I can't be there for some reason, like last week, or you just maybe are forgetful and you want to get a reminder, I do send out email reminders. You can use this QR code that's on the screen here to be able to get those reminders. Let me also share the link with you guys, because I know sometimes it's easier to click a link rather than having to scan a QR code. So if that's you, you can go ahead and click that link there on Rumble, here on YouTube, or here in Facebook, and you can get those reminders. We typically send those reminders out 24 hours beforehand, and then we send them out again another 10 minutes beforehand, and you'll be able to get the links to join our live stream. So I think that's everything for this evening, guys. We went a little later than I had wanted, but that's okay. We had some really great stuff to cover, and as always, I'm really excited to do it. So with that said, again, thank you guys for coming this evening. I hope you had a good time hanging out. Hope you learned some things along with me. Hopefully it opened your mind to the possibilities of some of these tools, and maybe you'll be able to take advantage of some of this stuff for your own purposes. I'm probably going to use that dispatch feature in Claude at some point, and then the Stitch app. The Stitch app is pretty darn cool. Like, I gotta say, like, that is really, really nice for design, and I like that I'm going to be able to get interactive feedback more quickly and build out, more complex interfaces and kind of see it interacting end to end. So, all right, it's time to close out for the evening. Thank you guys again for being here. I always enjoy hanging out with you. As always, thanks for coming, and take it easy. Bye-bye.